in a state that still has 2,600 miles of uninhabited land, a land of opportunity and dreams, a land once called God's country, a land that is fit for a queen. This land is known as Maine. Vacation.
Hello everybody, my name is Dustin Haldane, and I would like to introduce you to my state, the state of Maine. Now, the state of Maine, which is nicknamed the Pine Tree State and Vacation Land, became the 23rd state on March 15, 1820, under the Missouri Compromise, which removed the state from Massachusetts and moved it to its own state. The capital of Maine used to be Portland until 1832, when Augusta became capital, which it is today. It is located in the Eastern Time Zone, and the origin of the name Maine was first used to distinguish the mainland from the offshore islands. The name Maine is considered to be a compliment to Henrietta Maria, Queen of Charles I of England. Henrietta was said to have owned the province Maine of France. Maine of France is spelled M-A-Y-N-E, not M-A-I-N-E as we spell it today. But the United States Maine is the most northeastern state of the United States and is also the only state to be bordered by one other state, and that state would be New Hampshire. Along with being bordered by New Hampshire, it is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean, the Canadian province of Quebec, and the Canadian province of New Brunswick. Eastport and Lubec are the easternmost towns in all the United States. It is warm and humid in the summer, and cold and snowy and ready for snowmobiling in the winter. Maine is the 39th most extensive state and 41st for population, with Maine being comprised of 35,000 square miles, which is 210 miles east to west and 320 miles south to north. Maine is larger than 5 other New England states combined. Maine has 230 miles of coastline, along with 3,500 miles of tidal coastline, which ranks it higher than California in coastline. In the 2010 census, Maine had a little more than 1.3 million people, which is comprised of the following: 650,000 males, 678,000 females, 1.2 Caucasian, 17,000 Hispanic, 15,000 Black, 13,000 Asian, and 8,000 Native Americans. The most populated cities in Maine are Portland, with a little over 66,000 people, and Lewiston, where I'm from, with a little over 35,000 people. Other well-populated cities in Maine include Bangor, South Portland, Auburn, Biddeford, Sanford, Brunswick, Augusta, and Scarborough, along with 16 counties. People from Maine are called Mainers or Downeasters, and my favorite, Maniacs. Some of the famous people that call themselves Maniacs are Dorothy Dix, who is a civil rights reformer, John Ford, a film director, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, a poet, Stephen King, a writer, and Linda Lavin, an actress, and many more. Maine's people are mostly Christian, with a rate of 82%. 1% has other religions, while 17% don't have any. Maine has over 2,000 islands, 17, I say again, 17 million acres of forest, and 43.1 people per square mile. It is believed that Maine is the product of the Ice Age, because the last glacier was responsible for the cutting almost straight coastline into the rigid one we see today, along with all the islands. The original inhabitants were Algonquins speaking Abenaki, Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Penobscot. It is also believed that 500 years before Columbus, Leif Erikson, along with 30 Vikings, explored the state of Maine and tried to settle. It is also believed that John Cabot and his son visited the state in 1498. The first English settlement was in 1623, while York was the first chartered city in the U.S. in 1641. In 1775, the first naval action in Maine during the Revolutionary War was colonials captured the British Margaretta of Machias on Maine's coast. The British then came back and burned Falmouth, which is now known as Portland. The state of Maine had its casualties during the Civil War as well. One to mention would be Joshua L. Chamberlain. He was the only soldier to receive a battlefield promotion to general and was the last Civil War soldier to die of wounds sustained during the war. Also, the world's first total abstinence society was founded in Portland in 1815. Under the father of Prohibition, Neo Dow, Maine approved a total ban on manufacturing and selling of liquor in 1851, and it remained in effect until the repeal of the national prohibition in 1934. Now, let's talk about some stats and some areas of interest of Maine. The state of Maine is known for its vast forests and abundance of trees. That brings me to Acadia National Park, which is the only national park in all of New England. It is the U.S.'s second most visited national park. Now, the highest point of Maine is Mount Katahdin, which stands 5,270 feet outside of Baxter State Park. The lowest point in Maine, well, that's a given. It is the Atlantic Ocean, which is at sea level. The governor is Paul LePage until the year 2015. Maine, which state motto is De Rego, Latin for I lead, is the only state with one syllable. Maine is very well known for lobster, which in 2005 produced 63 million pounds. Maine produces 90% of the U.S. toothpicks and 25% of the U.S.'s blueberries. Maine is also known to be the world's largest pulp paper producer, along with the world's largest producer of flat tin sardines, producing 75 million annually. There are 30-plus state parks, 63 lighthouses, 2,500 lakes, and 5,000 streams. Now, it's time to have a little bit of fun. Let's give you some fun facts about Maine. The state berry is blueberries. The state bird is black-capped chickadee. The state cat is a Maine coon. State dessert is blueberry pie, and of course, made with real Maine blueberries. State fish is a landlocked salmon. The state flower is white pine cones and tassel. The state fossil is Pertica guadalfari. The state herb is wintergreen. The state gemstone is tourmaline. The insect is European honeybee. The mammal is moose. The soft drink, in which they have a festival for it every year, is Moxie. That's why it's called the Moxie Fest. The state treat is a whoopie pie, which is chocolate cake on top, chocolate cake on bottom, and a whipped cream type deal in the middle. It's really good, and they're about that big. State tree is a white pine, and the state song is a state of Maine song, which lyrics are as follows. Grand state of Maine, proudly we sing, to tell your glories to the land, to shout your praises till the echoes ring. Should fate unkind send us to roam, the scent of the fragrant pines, the tang of the salty sea will call us home. O pine tree state, your woods, fields, and hills, your lakes, streams, and rock-bound coast will ever fill our hearts with thrills. And though we seek far and wide, our search will be in vain to find a fairer spot on earth than Maine, Maine, Maine. That is written by Roger Vincent Snow. Now, the state of Maine is full of history and full of culture. Visit and see for yourself. I'm Dustin Haldane, and this was a briefing on the state of Maine. Welcome.